Hey guys, welcome back to the course, and in this video we're gonna design the login screen. As you can see that this is the screen which I had designed. You see, this is the iOS device, iPhone 16 Plus, and this is the Android device, which is like completely responsive for all the screens devices. Okay, so we have like login screen. We're gonna design this as well. Forget password, sign up screen. We're gonna design this all the screen. Also, we're gonna also work on the functionality like continue with Google. We're gonna build the custom API, like we're gonna build the REST APIs, and we're gonna integrate that all. So if you click on like this is the login screen, which you can see this, and you can type the email, and here as well, like if you wanted to write the email. So let me show you the keyboard as well quickly. So if we can type the email, we can type the password, and we can click on login. We have not integrated the API yet. We're gonna build the API, and we're gonna integrate that as well. So this is the screen which we're gonna design in our app. Also, if you talk about the sign up screen, so let's click on the sign up screen. Once you click on the sign up screen, you will went to the this screen, like name, full name. You can enter your name, email, phone number, and your password, confirm password, all the things, and it's callable, like it said it's callable. Okay, and also for if you click it here, you can see this how responsive is it, how completely responsive for the for both devices, like React Native for the Android as well as iOS. So we're gonna design this all the screens. We're gonna follow all the best practices. Okay, so you can click on this. You can go get back, click on the sign up, and you can click on login to get to the login. Also, we have a called forget password screen. So we're gonna design that screen as well. And this there's all the codes are production ready. Okay, we are following the best practices, everything whatever the production ready code gonna be needed. All right, so let's go back. Okay, now if I show you on the browser like what are the things, so this is the fourth section, like this is the fourth class of our course, and we're gonna follow like best practice of all the folder structures. We're gonna do that like custom font family, scalable, and production ready. So what are the things gonna be follow up? First, we're gonna do the set of the project. We're gonna create a fresh expo project. After that, we're gonna design the design the scalable. We're gonna create a constant file, custom font family, and we're gonna add some constant for like font size, font family. We're gonna use the React hook form later on. We're gonna create the backend APIs, and after that we're gonna integrate that APIs as well. We're gonna also work on the validation as well. Okay, the complete production ready code which is gonna be needed. All right, we're gonna also provide you this Figma. Here you can see this is the Figma. We're gonna provide that as well, so you guys can check it out the Figma, and if you wanted to build something different one, you guys can also check it out. All right, now moving back to the topic, we are working on React Native Expo starter kit. So in this kit, like currently I'm working on this gigs. So in this gigs we're gonna provide all the things like notifications with one signal, Firebase, OAuth with Google, sign up with Google, with Facebook, with Apple, all the things we're gonna work on that. So keep in loop. I will provide this in the link in the description. So we once the project has been done, we will add it here so you guys can download it and buy it. All right. So now let's do the project setup, and yeah, this is the awesome looking UI. I think it's really looking good, right? You can see this. There's all the code base which I have been working on. So yeah, you guys can check it out and let me know if any thoughts is there. This is all the code base. We're gonna follow all the best practices, model folder structures. So yeah, let's create a fresh React project and let's make this UI. Hey guys, now let's start the set of the project setup. To set up the project, what we're gonna use Expo, right? So for to create a project in Expo, first we have to search on the browser Expo. You have to hit Expo. After that, click on this browser like link. After that, click on the read docs. So we're gonna create one fresh Expo project. So I'm gonna copy this command, okay? And after that, I'm gonna just go to the desktop, and here I'm gonna create one directory. Name is Udemy, something like that. And inside this, I'm gonna create one. Open my terminal. Open in terminal. After that, I will just paste this command. So what is gonna do? It will create one fresh Expo project. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna write what is the app name. So I'm gonna call this Udemy app starter kit. Okay, so this is the app name, Udemy app starter kit. Okay, and just hit enter. Once you hit enter, what is gonna do? It will do the npm install, and after that, once the project has been set up, we're gonna open this inside our favorite IDE. So you guys can use Visual Studio Code, Cursor, or Windsurf, whatever the code editor you are okay with that. Okay, So while installing this project has setup has been done in the background. So let's talk about something else. So this is the screen, like sign in screen, which we're gonna talk about. So the first things which we're gonna do, like this should be gonna be responsive for all the screens, like no matters Android or iOS. Okay. Also, so we're gonna make it responsive for all the screens. And the next thing is that we're gonna focus on a scalability purpose, like how we can scale this project, like it's gonna be production ready app. Okay. So meanwhile, our you can see that our project has been created. Now let's go inside the project directory. So I'm going to type cd, and let me make my terminal bigger, quite a bit bigger, and let me clear this. Okay, not bigger, make it smaller. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna just make it a smaller size right now, and inside this I'm gonna just type cd, and I'm gonna just press u and press the tab. So I went to this directory. After that, I'm gonna just open this project in my favorite IDE. So I'm gonna use Windsurf, or like if you guys are using any tools, like you guys can use that. Like if you're using Visual Studio Code, you can use that as well. So I'm gonna just open this my project, so on this code editor. So I'm going to just drag, you can drag and drop this project on your favorite IDE. So I'm going to just drag and drop this project, and you can see this, yes, I trust the authors. After that, you see this is the project which I had created quickly. So meanwhile, let me start the server. To first we can open a terminal, like click on terminal, then click on new terminal. After that, press the npm start command. Once you run the npm start command, it will start running the development server. After that, press the A to run on the no to run on the emulator, but I'm gonna press I to run on the simulator. Okay, so I'm gonna not install on, I'm gonna be using a simulator instead of using the emulator. Okay, but now let's talk about some stuff like this folder directory. And also, once you done run this command, what is gonna do, it will start, like it will install the expo go and in your device, and after that it will run this project. Okay, now you can see this. By default, the boilerplate code looks like this. We have a two screens. The first screen is called home screen and the explode screen. All right, now let's talk about this. So inside this we are having a tab, and we are having a layout underscore layout. So we're going to understand this whole code base as well. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to open this project in the simulator instead of emulator, because I prefer simulator is like more good instead of emulator. Like it's quite a bit faster. It's like it doesn't lag somewhere. So I'm going to just open this like this. Okay, and yeah, we are good to go. Okay, now let's talk about some stuff. So the polar structure, and after that we're going to do some cleanup as well. So let me make it bigger for you guys. All right, now if you see this directory, we are having a root app directory, and inside this root app we are having a tabs directory, layout directory, and not found directory. So inside this layout we have pre-default, like we have pre-default setup of what you call React router, like React native navigations, like basically a folder based navigation is happening, like stack navigation. You can see this. If I show you there, you can see stack navigation has been set up already. Also the theme provider, like theme has been also set up already here. Okay, the color schema dark, then dark theme, otherwise default theme. And inside this we are having a, like in the root layout we are having a two screen. The first screen is called underscore, like basically a tab, and after that we are having another screen called not found. Okay, now if you go to the click on this, now if we go to this inside this root tab directory, let's click on the layout, and inside this layout we are having getting the color schema. And again, let me make this quite a bit bigger, and font is smaller. All right, so inside this we are having some stuff like tab bar active tint color, colors dot schema dot tint. And here we had just defined the all the screen. The first screen is called home screen, and the next screen is called explore screen. So let's go to the home screen. So if you see this, this is the home screen. Here we had defined basically some boilerplate code, which you can ignore it for now if it doesn't making sense for you. All right, so yeah, this is all the code base. And now what we're gonna do, here you can see a components directory as well, like collapsible haptic wave, which we can get rid of this quickly because we are not going to use this all. We have constant hooks, use color schema, use color scheme wave, use theme colors. Okay, so what we're gonna do first, we're gonna just start cleaning this project. So first we are going to clean this project. Okay, to clean this project, what we're gonna do, like if you go to the root like we have a root tabs directory, so we're gonna leave it for now. But if you see okay, let's do one thing. We're gonna clean this project later on, but now let's do one thing. The first thing is that if you see this thing, we have a root tab now. Already we had talked about this, expo folder structure, right? So if I show you folder structures, I had written one article and already mentioned you on the last video. So this is how we're gonna follow the app directory, right? So to follow that, like we're gonna follow the modular folder structures, and we're gonna design this screen, like basically the agenda of this course now. We're gonna design this login script, then sign up screen, forget password screen, and also we're gonna implement all the functionality, like, so we're gonna do that way. Okay, so now let's go back to the code base, and here inside this root app directory, here we're gonna make one another routing. That name will be what, another routing group which is name of auth. Okay, here if you go to the on the browser and expo folder base routing, if you just search it, so you will get this article, file based routing. So if you wanted to understand more details way, so you can understand that. So basically whenever you create a directory, it will what does do, it will create one, a folder based routing kind of. All right, so here we have underscore layout file, root layout, stack navigation, and here if you talk about the grouping style, so navigation between routes, so this is how you can navigate from one route to another route. And here there's one example of grouping layout as well. So you can see this is the example of grouping layout tabs inside the root home. So we're gonna do that way quickly. So for that, like if you wanted to read more, you guys can check it out this article as well. All right, now so I just make my simulator as a light mode. Now you can see in light mode. All right, so we are inside the root app directory, and inside this we had created one another directory called uh, auth directory, and you can see this with the bracket one. Like this is a kind of grouping. We are trying to make a group. All right. Now inside this we're gonna create this layout directory, like layout file layout.tsx. Okay, and inside this, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just do some stuff. So we're gonna write basically quickly one component, so you guys can use one extension. That name extension is called ES7 React Native Snippet extension. This is the extension I've been using on React ES7 React Redux React Native extension. Okay, so here we have to type RNFE. Okay, so what you can do, like it's create one boilerplate code. So what you type RNFE. Once you just type it down, so it will make you like creating a component quite a bit simpler for you. Okay, so I'm gonna make this name as a auth layout. Okay, and we are just export default auth layout. After that, inside this we're gonna do another thing that is called stack.screen. So we're gonna import the stack from the expo router, and we're gonna write stack.screen, and inside this screen we're gonna name as a stack, like this, just like this. Okay, and we're gonna define this name like stack.screen, like this, stack.screen. And after that we're gonna define a name is equal to what, name will be a sign in. So if we're gonna create our name component name as a sign in, so you can define a component as a sign in. All right, now let's go back to the code base here, and inside this if you see this, we are getting one error like stack.screen, because what stuff we had done, like we have to first gonna have a root directory called stack, like not root directory, but basically the first component is gonna be stack component. And how do I get this code base? So if you go to this browser, and here if you see this one example of root layout, how they have some, like you can copy this code and use that as well. So first we have to define auth layout. Inside that we are having a stack. Inside this we are defining a stack.screen. Okay, now inside this we're gonna create one component name is a sign in. Okay, sign in.tsx, like this. After that we're gonna just create one fresh React Native Expo component by typing the RNFES. Okay, and here we're gonna make this sign in just like this. After that we have to go inside this root of directory root layout file. Okay, let's go to the root layout file, and inside this, what we have to do, we have to add our directory, that path, basically with the one which we had work on, basically stack dot screen, just like this, and we're gonna have defined the name. Name is what? Name is auth. Name is auth, and after that it's gonna be like this. Okay, and that's after that it's totally up to us, like do we want to define a headers on false or not. Okay, so after that, like if you see this, if you're reloading this app, we are not getting this this sign in component, the component which we had created, we are not able to see that. So for that, what I'm going to do inside this use effect, what I'm going to do, so whenever the user load this page, okay, let me explain this whole code base, what is happening on. This is the root layout file. In the React Native CLI we have called app.tsx, the same way we have called underscore layout.tsx file in the root. Here we had defined some component like splash screen.hide essence. Whenever the app get loaded, like whenever the font family get loaded, you have to hide the splash screen, and if it's not loaded then return null, like you don't have to render anything. And this is the code for use color, once color schema is equal to use color schema for dark mode and light mode. So we can get rid of this if you don't want it to be, but for now I just want it to be, let it be as a tip. Okay, now after this, what we want now, whenever the user opens the app, the user would see the login screen. Okay, so for that I'm going to do one thing, like whenever the user open the app, the user effect will run. I'm going to tell that you have to push the user to the what, to the auth.signin screen. All right, so inside this use effect we had added this code snippet doctor.push dot slash or dot slash sign in. So what does mean, whenever the user loads the app, like whenever the user opens the app, he will went to the this screen. Okay, so we can have like this inside this loaded stuff. Now if I reload this, you can see this, we are getting inside this auth slash sign in. Okay, and here if you don't want it to show this header, like if you don't want to show this header zone, like what you're gonna do, you can add a properties called options, and inside this we can have a defined header zone as a false, header zone as a false. All right, now you can see that the header has been removed, but still there is one another header which is still visible, that is on this root layout. So here again, if you wanted to get rid of this header, what you can do, you can define it on this here, like on the every skin level, but I'm going to just define on the root level. Okay, and I'm going to define like skin options and a header zone as a false. All right, I can see this, we are able to see, like if you see on this sign in text, if I add a more text here, you can see like this is the going inside this stuff, we are not saying inside the screen, it's going inside the screen. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do some stuff. The first stuff is that, okay, but before that, this is a some component which is okay, for now let's it be. Now let's go to the component. What we're gonna do, we're gonna create one thing that is called custom safe area view. Okay, so the safe area view, what we're gonna do, it will render the content in the safe area view instead of going inside the status bar. Okay, so for that I'm gonna go inside this component directory. Here I'm gonna create one file name is a custom safe area view, and later on we're gonna delete this old file as well, which is unnecessary. These files are unnecessary for now. We will delete that file later on. We're gonna create one component called custom safe area view dot tsx, and I'm gonna type rnfes. Okay, so it will create one custom safe area component just like this. After that, inside this, what we're gonna do, we're gonna get this children component. Okay, so whatever the component is passing, we're gonna get that. So basically what I'm trying to do, inside this sign in screen, we're gonna wrap our component with the custom safe area view just like this. Okay, and here if you see this, so we had wrap custom safe area view, and you can see this, there we are getting a custom safe area view. All right, now let's go to the custom safe area view component, and inside this we're gonna get this children component. Okay, and here we're gonna define some stuff. What we're gonna define, basically inside this we're gonna import the safe area view from the React Native. Okay, And once we import the safe area away from the React Native, we're gonna just render the children. Okay. Now now you're able to see this, like our the sign in text is coming on the viewport, like it's not going on the top, it's not going it's not collapsing with the status bar. All right. Now after that we have to define this children ka type, children's type. What is the type of this component? So I'm going to just define interface is equal to custom safe area view props, just like this. And here it's going to be children dot react node. Okay. So what we had defined, basically we had written an interface custom safe area view props. And the suggestion which I'm getting, just because of like if you're using a cursor or if you're using a WinSub, so the code editor which I've been using, that is called WinSub. So it's just making my development quicker as well. So we had defined a interface called custom safe area view props inside this children, and we are getting the react node, and we are destructing that, and we are just defining a type custom safe area view props. All right. Now there's one thing more. What we're gonna do, we're gonna style this, we're gonna apply a style is equal to what, styles dot safe area view, safe area view, safe area view. And we're gonna write a styling for this. So here we're gonna write a styling, what it will be like this, flex is equal to 1. So take the whole screen of the and after that we're going to define a background color. Background color will be always be white. So I'm going to just write like this, triple F. And after that we're going to apply a padding top. What is padding top? Basically padding top, so if it's like if it's platform, if it's padding top, if it's platform dot, so we're going to import the platform from the iOS, like from the React Native. And here we're going to define that a platform dot operating system is equal to iOS. Basically if it's an Android. Okay. If it's an Android, so what you have to do, you have to give the padding of 25, else the 0. Okay. So from the padding top, so we are defining a padding top. So if I show you in the simulator, let's go to the simulator, and if you see this, we are having this sign in text, right? And we have defined a padding. So if I remove this padding, let me do one thing quickly, let me reload tab. Okay. And now let's check out the simulator. All right. Now if I remove this padding top, so what is gonna happen? Okay, nothing changed on the simulator, but let's talk about the emulator. Is there any changes? Yeah, you see what has happened. It went to the content inside this, so that's why we have to apply a padding top in the for the Android devices especially. All right, now let's go back to the component, and inside this we have to start designing this screen. Okay, so let's focus on that. So for that we're gonna follow this modular folder structure, so as I earlier mentioned you as well. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create one modules. Inside this modules we're gonna have a auth directory, components directory, hooks directory, services in store. I will also provide you this article link so you guys can check it out. Now let's go back to the code base, and I'm gonna just collapse this. Okay, but also meanwhile whatever the things which we had done, let me push that on the GitHub so you guys can be also sync up with the GitHub as well. So for that, what you have to do, you have to go to the expo, we have to go to the GitHub, and let me go to the GitHub, and inside this github.com we have to create one new repository. Click on new. Okay, you can click on new repository going for your profile as well, but I'm gonna just click on here, new repository, and here we're gonna I'm gonna choose myself, and the repository name is what, Udemy app starter kit, Udemy app starter kit. Okay, and it's gonna be a private repository for now, and I'm gonna click on create repository. Now the repository has been created, and after that you have to copy this command, git remote add origin, go back to your terminal. So let me click on this new terminal, and after that let me make my terminal bigger if it's possible. Okay, let me make it bigger, man. Okay, why it's not possible? Okay. All right, so we're gonna just paste this command, git remote add origin. After that you have to write git push. Once you write the git push, you will see one stuff like this git push set upstream origin master. So you have to copy this command, paste it here, and once you hit enter, you have to go back to the browser and just reload this. You will see the whole code base has been updated to the GitHub as well. So make sure to update the code base on GitHub as well. So we're gonna just write git add git commit, and we're gonna tell that created a safe area view component. So it's optional to you if you want to use GitHub as well. So you guys can also use that. So you have to write git add space dot, and then after that git commit minus m. Then you have to write the commit message. All right. Now let's talk about the modular folder structures. So you have to click on this like root file. After that, you have to click on this new folder icon, and here you type here you have to write modules like this. And if you go there, if you go to the article, so you have to write modules. Inside this module, we're gonna have auth and then components. So we're gonna have a auth directory, and inside this we're gonna have a components. Okay, and inside this components, what we're gonna have, basically we're gonna have a component of basically a sign in. So let's do that quickly. So first of all, we're gonna write create one file, another one, and the component name I'm gonna just make it sign in form.tsx. Okay, and again I'm gonna just make rnfes React Native default export style set component. And once we're done with this sign in form component, you can see this. After that, you have to just copy this name. Let's go to the sign in, and here we're gonna get rid of this whole code base. Like only we have a custom safe area view, and here we're gonna import this sign in form component. All right, now you can see a text of sign in form. Okay, perfect. We are trying to make this folder more scalable, so you guys can be like just gonna tell like, whoa man, this is crazy. Okay, now after this we're gonna start creating this logo ipsum. So you have to click on this icon. Okay, and here we have to download this icon. So let me download this icon. Okay, and after this I will also provide this GitHub link, this Figma link as well. So let's download this icon quickly by clicking on this icon. So let's click on logo ipsum. So you can see that this is the logo, and after that click on this 512 or like whatever you want a format. Like I click on 512 and click on export logo. You can see this, the logo has been exported. Now let's go on the code base. All right, so by clicking on this logo icon, like I will provide this Figma link again, I'm just telling. So by clicking on this logo, like if you click on this logo, you will see this frame. After that, you have to click on export logo. So once you download this logo, open this directory. Okay, this is the logo which I had downloaded. After that, what I'm going to do, I'm gonna just move this image inside my folder, inside my code base. So let's go to the code base, and inside this we are having this assets directory. Inside the assets we're gonna have images. So I'm gonna just move inside the images. All right, and I'm gonna just change the name from logo, instead of having this name, so logo.png in a smaller case. After that, once we're done with this, what we're gonna do, we're gonna make one constant here. So what does constant do basically? Let's go to the constants. Inside the constant we're having a colors.ts. The same way we're gonna create one constant for images.ts, and we're gonna write export const images like this, and we're gonna have an object. Okay, inside this we're gonna have a logo. Okay, and I'm gonna just make name as a logo. Okay, and we're gonna require this, and what we're gonna have a like slash assets slash images slash logo.png. All right, so if you see this is how you import the logo. After that, let's go to the sign in. This is the sign in form components. So let's go to the sign in form component, and inside this form component, what we're gonna do, we're gonna first of all start writing this styling. Okay, so let's do that quickly. So we're gonna define is a style is equal to what? Style is equal to styles.containers. Okay, and let's write the styling here as well. Okay, so container, and we're gonna define what flex is a 1, flex is a 1. All right, and after that we're gonna define a background color, background color. Okay, for the color we can just define like this, a triple f, but to follow the best practices, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create one colors constants. Okay, so let's create one color constant quickly. So for that, I'm gonna go to the we're gonna create one colors constant for this. So for that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create one file directory basically inside the root tab. Let me collapse all the file, and inside this we're gonna create one directory name as a theme. Okay, and inside this theme we're gonna create one another file name as a color.ts, colors.ts. Okay, and we're gonna define all the color, export const colors is equal to, here we're gonna define some primary color, primary like some colors code. The primary color code will be what, hashtag 2563. Okay, and eb 2563 eb, just like this. The same way we can define a secondary color as well. So the secondary color will be what, I'm going to just define name is a e2. Okay, e2 and e8 and f0. all right, and we're gonna have some text primary color as well, text primary. And for the text primary I'm gonna use a black color, so it's gonna be hash 000. And we're gonna have a text secondary as well. So for that we're gonna have use 6c, and it's gonna be 6c. Okay, 72 and 78. After that we're gonna have a border color as well. So we can have a border, and the border color will be what, it's gonna be hash, okay, hash e2 e8 f0. Okay, and the last one, the last one is what, background color. Background will be white color, just like this. Okay, and we're gonna import this. So we're gonna import this as a const, export this as a const. So these are the color code which we had defined. The first color code is a primary, secondary, text primary, text secondary, border color, and the background color. All right, now let's go back to the sign in for component, and here we're gonna define what, background color as a colors dot background. All right, now if you see this, we are able to done with this stuff. After this, the next thing which we have to do basically, render a logo. All right, so inside this we're gonna have another view just like this, and inside this we're gonna just call this style is equal to styles dot content, and inside this we're gonna have another view for the logo container. So let's create so this is the content container, right? Content container, above one is content container, and inside this content container we're gonna have a logo container. So let's work for a logo container. So we're gonna write is style is equal to styles dot logo container. Okay, and inside this logo container what we're gonna do, we're gonna just render the image. So we're gonna have a source image is equal to source, and here we're gonna just import that image. So we're gonna import the images. So you see that I have just import the images at the rate constant slash images, and after that we're gonna add a images dot logo. All right, and after that we're gonna have a define style is equal to styles dot logo. Okay, so you can see like nothing is visible on the UI right now. So we're gonna just write all the styling, right? So let me make the terminal smaller. Okay, the first thing is that what we have to talk about the content. So let's add a styling for the content. So I'm gonna write a content, and here we're gonna have a flex as a 1. Okay, and after that you can see nothing is there, right? Now after this we're gonna have a logo container. So let's add a logo container, and for the logo container what we're gonna need, we're gonna define a flex as a 1. Okay, and after that we're gonna have a flex direction. Flex direction is what, we're gonna just define a flex direction as a row. Okay, flex direction is a row, and align item center. So let's write down as well. Align item center, we don't need justified center. All right. Now if you still like you can't see the images, right? You will be wondering like why I'm not able to see the images. Because to see the images you have to define a height and weight of the image. So let's add a logo, and here we're going to define a width. Width will be what? Width will be, I'm going to just define 220. Okay, and the height will be what? Height will be 40. Okay, and now if it's still like you're able to see like nothing on the UI, because what is the catch now? We are not imported the image. So let me import the image from the React Native as well. So we had just import the image from the React Native. And now if I reload the app, so let me reload the app. Let's go here and let me reload the app. Now once I reload the app, you can see that the icon is there. Okay, but the catch is that what is happening is taking the whole way, because we had defined a flex as a 1. Okay, the reason when is that we're going to deal it later, but if I just remove the flex as a 1, you can see this this is now taking only the top one. Okay, not this one. Okay, you can see this is the looking good. Now after this there's one more thing, we're gonna just apply a padding as well. Padding will be what? We can specify a padding just like this, 10 20. But instead of applying a padding like this, what we're gonna do again, we're gonna do same thing for this as well. We're gonna create as we had done for the colors, we're gonna do the same stuff for the padding as well. So inside this name we're gonna create another file name as a dimensions.ts. okay, and inside this dimension.ts we gonna create one object, export const, name is a spacing, and inside this spacing we're gonna have a like extra small. For the extra small we're gonna give as a 5, for the small we're gonna give as a 10, and for the medium it's gonna be 15, and for the large 20, and for the extra large it's gonna be 25. And we're gonna again export as a const, so it will be as a constant. Okay, let's go back to the here on the code base sign in form, and instead of doing like this defining a constant value like so what we're gonna do, we're gonna just make here what we're gonna make padding as a medium. So we're gonna import that spacing dot. Okay, so first we have to import the spacing from the themes.dimension dot md, just like this. All right, this is now looking good. After this, what is the next thing? We're gonna also define a border radius. Okay, so for the logo, if you want to define a border radius, but I don't think it's gonna be required, so we can move to the next stuff. What is the next stuff is there? We have to design this header, sign into your account. All right, so let's go here, let's go back. Let me format document, format the document, format the code base, and now this is looking good. And let me make this bigger, my editor. Oh god, let's make it bigger, man. Why sometimes it's not working? Okay, now it's good. Oh, okay, now we are done with this header, what is that logo container part. Now the next thing is that we have to start working on header section. Okay, now to start working on a header section, what we have to do, first of all, here we're gonna have a view, and inside this view we're gonna have style is equal to styles dot header. Okay, styles dot header, and inside this header we're gonna have a text. The first text is what? Sign into your account, right? So let me copy this text, copy, control C, control paste, and the next text which we're gonna have, that is what is that? Enter email and password to login. So let me paste that as well. Okay, so I'm gonna just tell that row this is a title, style is equal to dot title, and this is subtitle. Okay, now once we define this, all this title and subtitle, you can see on the sidebar. Okay, Now another thing is that for the header, like if you go to the header, so let me copy this header name and let's go back to the code base. Okay, so let's go back to the code base, and here if you can define a header as well, so that's totally up to you. But I'm gonna just define a margin bottom. I think not margin bottom, so let me give us some margin vertical as a spacing dot medium for now. Okay, and after this, what is next stuff? We're gonna style the title. Okay, the font, my bad, title. And for the title we're going to define a font size, and the font size will be what? The font, for the font size, again I'm thinking to make a constant. So if you wanted to make okay, let me format the document quickly. Format document. And for the font size, I'm again thinking out just doing the same stuff. Okay, so for the font size, what I'm going to do, I'm going to again make a constant. So inside this dimension.ts, I'm going to create one export const font size is equal to, here we're going to have a same stuff again. So extra small, medium, so we're going to copy this, and for the extra small I'm going to just make it 10 instead of 5. For the small it's going to be of 12, and for the medium it's going to be of 14. Okay, and for the large it's going to be a 16. I'm thinking it out. Let's make it 16, and for the extra large it's going to be 18. Okay, and after this, and for the double XL it's going to be a 22. Okay, and for the triple XL it's going to be a, I think it's going to be 32. Okay, all right. Now there's one more thing which we're going to do. We're going to just wrap one more thing, that is called, whenever we like we have to export this as a constant as well. Now another thing is that, so whenever you're using a font size, so we're gonna use one package called React Native font size, React Native responsive font size, React Native responsive font size. Open this article and copy this command. Okay, now I'm gonna just stop my server and install this package React Native font size. After this, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just select this all the comma. Okay, and here we're gonna import, there's one thing called rf. Okay, we have to import rf value. Okay, there's one thing called rf value. Okay, my bad, rf value, we have to import this rf value function. Okay, and we have to just wrap this whole stuff. Okay, make sure to do like this. So it will, whatever the font size we're going to use, it will be a responsive font size, so it will get changed dynamically as per the device screen size. Okay, now let's go back to the sign in for component, and here we're going to define a font size. So the font size is what, for the title I'm thinking as a font size as a triple XL font size. So we're going to import the font size as well, dot triple XL. Okay, and the font size is triple XL. Let me reload the app. Okay, now you can see this is the font size. Now after this, we're going to define a color as well. So let's define the color. Color will be what? Colors dot text primary. Okay, text primary. And the next thing is that we're going to define a margin bottom. Margin bottom will be what? Spacing dot small. Now if you see this is the font size. It's like that, not looking that good as it should be. Like it's in the Figma, it's a bold font family or different font family, right? But here it's a very light font family. So let's update this font family as well. So how we can update this font family? So let's click on this font family. If you see this is the enter font family here. So let me download this enter font family. So let me open a new tab. I'm gonna just write enter font family download. Okay, once I hit enter, so you will went to this Google font page. Okay, or you can search here enter as well, After this, click on get font. Once you click on get font, you will find it out here. Okay, it will get added to the cart, and after that click on download all one. Okay, the font zip file has been downloaded, so you have to extract this, so let me extract this. Once you extract this font family, like the font, all the fonts, open this directory. Inside this directory you will find a file, a static directory. Open this, and once inside this we have a different font family. All right, so we're gonna use basically a bold font family. Okay, and we're gonna have a regular as well, so let's select the regular as well. So we're gonna have a regular semi bold, and I'm gonna have a medium font family as well. Okay, and we what how many fonts family is there? Four. So I think a regular, we can choose the regular as well. So we have regular, then light. Let's choose the light one as well. So where is that? I think this one. It's black light, I think. Okay, no, this not this one. Let's go with this. uh yeah, I think this looks good. Black one. Okay, I would say black is not, this one is looking good. So uh the four bold, then light, then medium, then regular, then semi bold. Okay, now copy this all the font family, and let's go back to the your directory. Inside this we have called assets. Inside this asset we have font, and here we have to just paste all the fonts family. Okay, you will find all the font family enter 18pt bold, light, medium, regular, and semi bold. After this, the next thing which you have to do is that import that all the font family and use that. Okay, now we had moved all the font family inside this assets inside this form directory. Now if you see the example of how we are using fonts, like how we importing the fonts and using that. So inside this app directory we having a root layout. Inside this, if you see this, we are using this hooks use fonts, and if it is loaded is true, then we are just using this font family. All right, the same way what we're gonna do, we're gonna create one hook. Okay, so inside this hooks we're gonna create another hook. The name is a use loaded fonts.ts. Okay, and here we're gonna write export const use loaded fonts. Okay, and it's gonna be a function like this. Here we're gonna have define a const loaded. We're gonna use fonts. So let me import the use fonts from the expo font. After that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create one object of font family. Okay, so let's create one font family object, but let me remove this as well. And here, like if it's gonna be a bold font now, so and here we're gonna require all the font family require, and we're gonna have a slash assets slash fonts slash let's get the suggestions, and what the name of font is. So we are having this name, so let me copy this name, copy, and here we're gonna paste that. Okay, dot tff t ttf. Okay, now we had imported the same for medium, and that's all like we're gonna do, and we're gonna return this loaded. Okay, now instead of doing like bold medium like this, so what we're gonna do inside this uh themes, we're gonna create one file, name is a font family, font family dot ts. Okay, and inside this we're gonna export const font family. Okay, and here we're gonna define all the font family. The first one we gonna be bold, so the name will be what we're gonna define as a enter bold. Okay, and the same we're gonna do quickly for all the things. Regular we're gonna have, then we're gonna have a medium, and we're gonna have a light, and the last one is called semi bold. So let's add a semi bold as well. Semi bold. So it's gonna be a regular, medium, medium. I'm just making a name, and light semi bold. Awesome. Now, and we're gonna export as a const for now. Okay. Now let's copy this font family. Let's go to the this use dimension hook, use loaded fonts, and inside this we're gonna import this font family, and we're gonna have a bold font family. Why we're not getting suggestion dot bold? Okay, we are not getting suggestions because we have to wrap it like this. Okay, and here we're gonna have a bold, then all the others like bold, regular. So we had added the bold, medium, light, semi bold, and the regular. All the font family we had just added it like this. Okay, so I get some auto suggestion and it's done very quick. Okay, now once we created this hook, we are not using it, right? So we have to also use it inside this root layout as well. So let's go to the here inside this root layout. Okay, and here if you see this, we are having this code base, so we can get comment this code base, and here if we can get delete this font family as well, space mono regular. And here what we're gonna do here, we're gonna have our code base like use loaded fonts. We're gonna call this, and it's gonna return this loaded state instead of returning an array, just like this. Okay, and yeah, this is gonna work for us. Let me reload the app. Let me restart my app by running the npm start. Okay, and this is how you can add a custom font family, which is like really straightforward one in doing with the expo, if you're doing with the expo. Okay, now once we done with this stuff, like let us wait for it to installation for the app. Let's go to the use loaded fonts again, and we are just returning the loaded stuff which is correct. And let us wait for to open the project. Okay, it's making the bundling and opening the app. All right, now we are done with this. Now let's me update the font family as well. So let me close all the file, and inside this let's go to the sign in form, and here we can update this font family. So the font family is what? The font family we're going to define as a, I think, bold one. Font family is equal to font family dot semi bold. Let's try. Okay, I must miss the comma, and now it's looking better, I think. And we can try the bold one. This is the semi bold. This is how it looks like. I think bold one is looking better than the semi bold. What do you think, guys? You guys can try it out as well. After that, the next stuff we have called subtitle one. So I'm getting suggestions. So let me apply the styling, the same one. The font size will be medium for the subtitle. The color will be what? Color will be text secondary. Okay. And after this, the font family. Let's talk about the font family. I think it's gonna be more regular kind of. So I'm gonna just apply instead of medium. I'm gonna just bold. I think medium looks good to me. This looks good to me. Medium one. So I'm gonna just go with the medium one. Okay, and I also apply margin bottom spacing dot medium kind of. Okay, now after this we're gonna design this form. Okay, so let's design this form quickly. Email and the password, and also we're gonna need this icon. So let's design the main stuff. So we are done with this header section as well, and let me show you how does it looks on Android. So this is how it looks like on Android. So if I reload the app quickly, and so on the Android, this is how it looks like in the progress. Awesome. So this is responsive as well. So once we apply a flex one, so it's gonna be coming to the center, so you guys can, you don't have to think about this one, on the top header margin. Okay, now let's go back to the code base. Okay, now after this we have talked about the styling the form. Okay, so here we can style the form as well. I'm going to call this form section, and inside this we're going to have a style dot form. Okay, and we're gonna have a like I just style.form, put it like this, and here we're gonna have an email input, and the first field which you have to basically a one view like this, and here inside this we're gonna have a text name as an email, and another thing is called text input. So we have to also import that as well. Make sure to import that all the components as well. Okay, and we have text input, and where do I import it? Oh my bad, I imported from the wrong path. We have to import it from the React Native. So let me import it from the React Native. Awesome. Okay, now you guys will wonder, Alisan, so why do you make this constant for the font family? This is taking long but time. The reason behind is that if you're building a scalable app, so earlier project setups took time, but it will saves you long time. Like it can saves you more time in a longer run. Now, if you see, like if you're doing a development, now you feel how fast we are doing the development right now. So you'll feel that. And after that, text input style is equal to styles dot what styles dot input, and we're gonna apply a placeholder will be what, enter your email, something like this, and we're gonna have a what we're gonna have a keyboard type keyboard type will be email. Let me get suggestions from here. If you can get the suggestions, email address. Okay, and after that we're gonna make the autocorrect capitalize as a none. Okay, and after this auto capitalize none, and autocomplete, we're gonna add an autocomplete email. Okay, so we get the expo autocomplete as an email, and yeah, we can have a my app has been closed. Let me open that quickly. All right, so let's design this form quickly. So we're gonna copy this form. Let me copy this form. Let's go to the bottom. Okay, here. Okay, meanwhile let me collapse this as well. Okay, inside this form, and we're gonna apply some stuff. The first step is called width. So width gonna be 100%. Okay, take the whole with 100%. Okay, and we're gonna after that we're gonna have an input container, right? So let's talk about this input container, and here we're gonna have a margin bottom will be what, spacing dot large. We have defined the margin container. After that we're gonna talk about the label, and what is the label? Let me talk about this label. Now we had defined this form. Okay, and also we had forget one thing, that is called email input, right? This is the email input, and we're gonna style is equal to style dot input container, just letting them know. And after this is the style dot label. So I had added this one, input container, then after that I had added this one, style dot label. All right, now let's design this label quickly after this input container. So for the label I'm thinking of giving the font size. Okay, let's get the suggestions. Oh my bad. So let's go to the label, and here we're gonna apply this font size medium, and we're gonna colorize the colors dot secondary. We're gonna apply the margin bottom spacing dot small, and the font family is medium one. Okay, now this looks good to me. Now after designing the label field, now we have to design for the input field. So let's check it out. So here you can see that we had designed for the label. Now let's design for the input. So let me copy the input. Let's go on the bottom, and here we're gonna write this input. Okay, and inside this we're gonna write some styling. The first is styling is called border width. The border width will be 1. Okay, and the border color. So we're gonna give the colors. So the borders colors dot borders. Okay, and border radius. So I'm gonna give the border radius as MD. Okay, and after that I'm gonna give a padding of what? Padding of medium, and the font size. So we're gonna give the font size after the padding. Font size of what? The font size of medium as well. Font size dot medium. Okay, and after the font size medium, we're gonna give the font family as a medium as well. Okay, and once we're done with this, we're gonna define another thing that is called colors. The colors is what? Colors dot text primary. All right, now you can see this. This is looking good. What do you think? Let's check it out the Figma. So if you go to the Figma, and this is our Figma screen, and this is looking perfect as it is. Right, now let's move to the next stuff. Let's go to here. Okay, and we are defined the text style input. Placeholders is also looking good. Keyword type auto capitalize, and autocomplete as an email. That's awesome. Now let me click on this keyboard and let me show you the keyboard how it's gonna look like. So IU keyboard toggle software keyboards. So you can see this, we are getting that rate, which is great. Okay, now there's one thing, like we want to show a placeholder text color as well. So we're gonna add a placeholder text color, and it will be what? Colors dot text primary color. It's not looking good, so I'm gonna just make the text secondary instead of primary. All right, this is awesome. Now once we're done with this email input, so this is our email input. Now after this, we're gonna talk about the password input. Okay, so inside this password input, what we're gonna need again input container. So we are getting also auto suggestion. View style is equal to styles dot input container, and inside this we're gonna have a password, and inside this okay, let's do manually instead of doing auto suggestion, because we're gonna learn this all this stuff. So we're gonna use a view. Okay, and inside this view we're gonna write style and styles dot input container. All right, now once we're done with this input container, we're gonna add a label as well, text, and the text will be what? Password. And let me define a label as well. Style is equal to styles dot label. Okay, now after this, we're gonna have a, if you see this, input field like the password, we're gonna need this icon as well, right? So for that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create one view. Okay, and I'm gonna make this view name as a password container. Style is equal to styles dot password container. And inside this view we're gonna do another thing that is called text input. Okay, like this. Okay, now inside this text input, we're gonna apply some styling. Basically, style is equal to what? Styles dot input. All right, now the next thing is that we're gonna define placeholder. The placeholder will be what? Enter your password. Okay, and once we're done with this, we're gonna have a basically secure text entry as a true, because it's gonna be password. Okay, and after this, we're gonna make the auto capitalize as a none. Okay, and the next thing is that we're gonna define a placeholder text color as well. It will be colors dot text secondary. Now let me format the code base, format document, and the code has been formatted. Now we have to after this text input, we're gonna add the icon. Okay, so for that we're gonna add a one touchable opacity. Okay, and we're gonna import the touchable opacity from the React Native, and inside this we're gonna use of one icon feather. So we're gonna import the feather from the expo vectors icons. Okay, and we're gonna define some property name, and if it's so password is true, basically. Okay, so there will be gonna one state. So let me create one state, basically const so password, set so password, just like this, and we're gonna define a user state as a false. Okay, now let me copy this so password property here, and here if it's so password is true. Okay, then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show I of icon. Okay, else I'm gonna just show the I icon. All right, now and the size we're gonna define as a 20. Okay, and the colors will be what? Color will be colors dot text secondary, like this. So let me format document again. Okay, now if you see, let me cancel. Now you can see this I icon. Now if we click on this, so whenever the user on press event, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna just update that state. So it's gonna be make the set so password as a opposite of so password, just like this. Now if I click on this icon, you can see the icon get changed, right? The icon is getting changed. Now after this, once we're done with this, let me add the styling of this. of the touchable opacity, right? So let me add a one styling as well. For this, style is equal to what? Styles dot, it's gonna be a eye icon. Okay, it's gonna be a eye icon. So let me copy this, all the property, and we're gonna just style this. So after this input field, we're gonna need a password container like this, and for the password container we're gonna define flex direction as a row. Okay, and after that align item center. All right, now once we're done with this, the next thing is that we're going to define a border width. Border, okay, let me add a hit enter border width as a 1. Okay, so what is going to happen, it will take the border width of the top one. All right, now after this we're going to write a border color. Border color will be colors dot border, and border radius will be this one, spacing dot medium one. Okay, and we're going to get rid of this padding right now. Now you see this password input has, like, this is how looking like this. Okay, now the next thing which we have to do once we're done with this password container, the next property which we have to style, that is for the password input. Okay, so you can see there's the input. Now we're gonna update the name as the input as a password input. So let me copy this password input. Let's go to the bottom, add a comma, and we're gonna write some property. We're gonna write a property is flex as a 1. Okay, now after this we're gonna apply a padding. Okay, padding will be what? Spacing dot medium 1. Okay, and the font size will be medium, and the font family will be medium as well, and color will be colors dot text primary, and this is how it's gonna be look like. Okay, and for the eye icon, okay, now once we're done with this, for the eye icon we're gonna just add a padding of spacing dot medium. Okay, so yeah, we are done with this, password field as well. And if you type something, you can see, if I okay, now whenever we click on this, it should be visible, right? The text should be visible. So for that, what we're gonna do, you can see here, you can see a secure text entry true. So here we're gonna pass this property show password. If show password is true, okay, then what we're gonna do, we're gonna show that text. So if I write this, you can see, okay, so basically it's gonna be opposite of show password. If it's true, then okay, now if I click on this, you can see this. If I have to show, click on this. Awesome. Now again, let me format the document. Okay, now once we're done with this, the next stuff is that let's go to the Figma. The next which we have to do, that is called forget password text. Okay, so let's add a forget password text after this touchable opacity and view. So this is the view of password container. So let me close this, and here we're gonna add another touchable opacity for the forget password, right? So let's add a for the forget password. Okay, so we're gonna write like this, touchable opacity styles dot forget password. Okay, so it's gonna be a touchable opacity, and we can get rid of this. Like, if you don't want it to be forget password, we can get rid of this. Okay, and we're gonna have a text as well, styles dot forget password, and touchable opacity. All right, now let's me copy this forget password. I'm gonna just make a forget password, copy this name, and let's go to the bottom. You see, we are getting auto suggestion just because I've been using a WinSub editor. That's why I'm getting this all the suggestions. Now I went to the bottom, and here we're gonna add this forget password. Okay, and I'm going to write some property like align cells as a what? Align cell as a flex end. Okay, I see it went to the end. Okay, and we're going to apply some margin top. Margin top is a spacing dot small, and colors will be colors dot text primary instead of text secondary. It will be colors dot text primary, and the font size will be medium. Font size dot medium. And the font family is going to be a regular kind of. So medium, we're going to apply a regular font family. Okay, now this is looking good to me. Align cell flex and margin top. Okay, and we're going to apply the colors as a colors dot primary. So I'm going to just make the colors as a primary instead of text primary. Now this is looking good to me for now. Okay, now I'm thinking just one more thing. Instead of putting it here like the touchable is opacity, so I'm gonna just copy this code base, and here we're gonna just wrap it up. Okay, and after this view we're gonna put like this, and this is looking good for now. Okay, Now let's move to the next stuff, that is called a login button. Okay, so let's go to the Figma. Okay, now we have to design this login button. So for that we're gonna add again login button. Okay, and here we're gonna again need a touchable opacity, touchable touchable opacity, and inside this touchable opacity we're gonna need a text as a standard login button, and it's gonna be a log in. Okay. Okay, now we're gonna style a touchable opacity is equal to style is equal to styles dot button. Okay, and this is gonna be login button. Login. I'm gonna make this, this text as a button text. Okay, now copy this style name. Let's go to the bottom. Okay, and here I'm gonna just add a property, the button one. So button, for the button we're gonna add a background color. Background color is a what, colors dot primary. Okay, and the border radius will be uh, medium. Okay, and we're gonna apply the is padding as well medium, align item centers, and the margin top will be small. Margin in top will be small. My bad. Okay, I think it's, if it looks good on the medium one instead of large. Okay, and after that we can apply a button text styling. Button text styling will be uh, colors dot background, colors dot background, and the font size will be large one instead of medium, and font family will be semi bold instead of bold, semi bold, like this. Okay, and now this is looking good to me. What is your thoughts, bro? It is looking good. I think so, it's looking better. Now after this, the next thing, let's see on the Figma what we have to do next. Now we have to design this or text like this. Okay, so for that, for design to the or text, what we're gonna do after this touchable opacity, we're gonna add a comment or text. Okay, and inside this or text, we're gonna have a, like, this is called is text style dot or text, and we're gonna have a or. Okay, and now let's style this as well. So style this or text, we're gonna go to the bottom. Okay, let's go to the bottom, and here we're gonna define a or text. And okay, all right, text align will be what, center, to make it center, and margin vertical will be spacing dot extra large, extra large, and though the thing, color, we're gonna give the color as a colors dot text secondary, and the font family which I wanted to be font family dot regular one, font family dot regular, like this. And this is looking good to me. And if you wanted to increase the font size, you can increase that as well, but this looks good to me. Okay, after that, once we done with this alt text, we gonna do the next stuff. Basically, what is the next stuff? Let's go to the again, and let me increase the font size. By the way, I think it's look good. Font size dot medium. Yeah, medium looks good to me. Okay, now let's go to the Figma, and here we're gonna need this button. Continue with Google, continue with Facebook. Okay, and and don't have an account, do sign up. So but before doing this all the stuff, so you can see this all the 17 file changes which we had done. So let me git add git commit the put the code. So for to that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just git add git commit. So if I make the terminal bigger, okay, and we can write git add space dot, after that git commit minus m, created the sign in form. Okay, and after that we can write git push, so it will git push the code base. Okay, so you can also directly click on this icon. You can also, if you wanted to click on this icon, we will also show how you can use this icons and so on to make the development faster, like to basically push the code on GitHub. Okay, now after this we're gonna design this next component, that is called this basically social sign-in stuff. So for that, we're gonna you know create a stuff, basically another component for that. Okay, So inside the sign in form, I'm gonna just create one file called social login.tsx. I'm gonna write rnfes. Okay, so it has created social login component. Copy this component. My bad, I make the typos here. So click on rename social login login.tsx. Okay, remove this code base. My bad. Let me close my this one. Okay, RNFAS. It's created one component called social login. Let's go to the sign in form component, and here we're gonna just import it. So after this auth text, we're gonna import this social login component. So let me import it quickly. All right, now we are good to go. So we have imported the social login component. Now inside this, we're gonna style this all the. So yeah, so far we had designed this login screen, like basically the UI stuff. So in the next video, we're gonna design this social login screen, like basically social login component and this footer one. So yeah, keep in loop, and we'll catch up in the next video. Bye.